Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I wanted to start a new series called This or That, where I compare Destiny 2 exotics and let you know which one is better depending on the situation, starting as a Titan main with an Insurmountable Skullfort versus Point Contact Cannon Brace. Now for this, I'm really focusing on using the Thunderclap Arc Melee, because it's just the one that is really going to be a lot of fun, but also very, very strong this season. Although with Skullfort, you can use multiple different arc melees if you want to. You can change it up. So the flexibility is there, but this is specifically for Thunderclap because it is tremendous this season. One of the main reasons it is tremendous this season is because of the artifact perks we have, such as Shock and Awe, Arc Final Blows when you're amplified that summon a burst of lightning that damages and jolts targets. When you are running the knockout aspect, you are going to be amplified all the time, so that's why you're going to see the jolts pretty consistently as you're using either one of these. But especially with the Skullfort, it's nice because you can get that first kill, become amplified, and then just jolt targets, deal the extra burst of lightning pretty consistently, and it is a ton of fun. You also have electric armor, so you gain damage resistance while amplified, and getting amplified is so easy because of your arc melee, as well as something like Thunderous Retort and all that kind of stuff. Amped up is also very, very nice. But overall, it is a nice season to have either one of these exotics in your repertoire because they are very, very fun. Now, jumping right into the differences, let's talk about Skullfort first. This has the exotic perk Transfusion Matrix, kills with arc melee abilities, trigger health regeneration, and restore melee energy. The health regeneration doesn't matter as much because you are running knockout already anyway, so that really is tempered with this build, but it doesn't matter so much because becoming amplified is the key and essentially allows you to spam your thunderclaps with auto regenerating essentially your full melee every time you get a kill with Thunderclap. Now the downside to this one, to the Skullfort, is that every time you use it, you're going to have to make sure you get a kill. Otherwise, you lose the potential to regenerate your melee, and that's a big problem because this one just isn't going to do as much damage as Point Contact Cannon Brace, and that's just flat out raw damage. So that's where the difference lies. If you are facing mobs of enemies, if you want to clear ads quickly, Skullfort is going to be very nice. Even when you get to higher tier content, Thunderclap can do enough damage in order to take out mobs of enemies. But once you start getting to yellow orange bars and bosses and stuff like that, it just isn't going to do the same amount of damage, and that's going to leave you a little bit frustrated at times when you try to use your Thunderclap with Skullfort and you don't kill an enemy, and so now you have to wait a while to regenerate. It is easy enough to run something like this with Monte Carlo if you want to. It's more important to run Point Contact Cannon Brace with something like Monte Carlo or anything that's going to allow you to generate that melee ability more, because you're going to want to keep that uptime. Whereas if you're smart, if you're playing well, if you are using Skullfort correctly, you are going to be regenerating your arc melee, so you don't need anything that's going to boost that whatsoever. The other nice thing about Skullfort is essentially just spamming it and just having the extra bonus from the artifact perk really shine and just have lightning everywhere. You're jolting targets. You can use it against anything that you want, such as champions that you can jolt and stun and all that kind of stuff. So it does make it nice there. And so when you're using Skullfort, you just have to be smart in when you use your Thunderclap. Now, the Point Contact Cannon Brace, however, it has the artifact armor perk Hammer of the Gods. Defeating targets with your Thunderclap melee restores melee energy. It's much less than Skullfort, though. Keep that in mind. It does restore some, but you're going to see where with Skullfort you get your full melee back. This one is just a little bit of the bar. Targets near you when your Thunderclap suffer lightning strikes and become jolted, so that kind of eliminates the artifact perk. That's the difference, right? Like Skullfort doesn't really benefit as much from knockout, but does benefit from the seasonal artifact perk, whereas Point Contact Cannon Brace really benefits from knockout, not so much with the artifact perk because you're already doing the lightning strikes, enemies are becoming jolted, all that stuff. Being amplified increases the damage of these lightning strikes. So one of the keys with the point contact cannon brace is becoming amplified before you actually are using that thunderclap. So there's a couple ways to do this. One, if you use your melee up close with just a base melee, but you still are able to proc the arc melee for that instance, you can actually become amplified through that. You don't have to have a charged melee. So if you don't have your thunderclap fully charged, or you have it charged and you use your alternate melee, your primary melee, you can actually become amplified that way and then use your thunderclap, which is really nice. But also, if you find other ways to become amplified, it does help out tremendously, because what that allows you to do is essentially get those increased damage from the lightning bolts pretty consistently. So that's something to keep in mind. And I do think that already being amplified and staying amplified is absolutely vital when you are running the point contact cannon brace, more so than the Insurmountable Skullfort. So each one of these is really good, but just really pay attention to what the exotics say as far as which situation they're going to be better in, because again, next season point contact cannon brace is probably going to be superior, because the Insurmountable Skullfort is going to lose the benefits of the artifact perks, whereas this season I would say in many cases Skullfort is actually a little bit better. You're not going to do nearly the damage against bosses and mini bosses and all that kind of good stuff, but you can still do heavy damage if you charge up your thunderclap all the way, and the ad clearing potential is just so much greater than it normally was, especially as you are just constantly able to spam it. You can just regenerate your arc melee over and over again. That's just my opinion on it. So for this season, I would rank Insurmountable Skullfort ahead of point contact cannon brace ever so slightly, but going forward, I think cannon brace is going to be the better option for a lot of builds, and so that's really where I stand as it is right now. Although you can't go wrong either way. If you have a preference, this is what I'll tell everybody. If you have one of these that you just absolutely love using, you can make builds with each of them. Both of them are very, very good this season specifically, so try them out, see which one is your favorite. But if we are also looking at the different types of content, that's my opinion, and I would love to hear from you guys going forward on which one you see. I have some other ideas planned for this or that, such as the next one I am really looking into is going to be the Second Chance Gauntlets versus the Doomfang Pauldrons. So two Void Titan exotics that I'm really, really excited, because they are phenomenal exotic. I really do love each and every one of them, and there's a lot of options this season. So one thing I would also recommend you guys doing, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what Warlock exotics you want me to compare going forward as well, because I'm still up in the air on which ones I want to kind of do a one-to-one side-by-side on that one. Anyway, I know I went on a little tangent there, but because this is the first in the series, I wanted to explain all that. My name is JoPaWrites. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Destiny 2 content. We are getting a mid-season patch tomorrow that should be very interesting as far as the buffs and nerfs and all that kind of good stuff coming. I can't wait to cover that as well. My name is JoPa. I hope you have a good one. I'll catch you all later.